family because I will no longer be here to feed them. Hands up.
Don't shoot.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Is there going to be no justice? No justice? Thank you, everyone, for coming out and supporting me.
Let me bring now, and we're near the end with our speakers. I've got Judge Greg Mathis is here, Spike Lee is here, the NAACP, the Urban League. We know it's cold, and just cuddle up and warm up, and we're going to get it right. And everybody, Archie Elliott, 14 times they shot him in Prince George's County. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing to the podium now, Melanie Campbell, President of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation.
No justice! No justice! I can't breathe! We can't breathe! Black lives matter! All lives matter! I want to thank Reverend Sharpton for your leadership and your lifetime commitment to justice for all people, for our people. You have been there for the families of the victims of police killings and brutality for decades. I'm going to age myself, but I can remember way back in the 1990s, you were there for the family of Philip Pennell from Englewood, New Jersey. Any New Jerseyans in the house who was killed unjustly by police? You have always been there for our community. When the cameras were off, more times than when the cameras were on. You are our go-to guy. You fight to the end, and we love you. So I want you to repeat after me. We love you, Reverend Sharpton. We love you, Reverend Al. All I want to say, as we stand here today, we can look behind and we can see the Congress. Y'all see that white building back there? We're here today in solidarity with all the families representing Black Women's Roundtable and Black Youth Vote. We're here to pledge to the families that we're committed to stand in solidarity with you until justice is served. We need Congress to do their job. President Obama, Attorney General Eric Holder, they're doing their jobs, but they can't do it alone from a federal level. We need Congress to act and end police brutality and excessive force. I have two brothers standing beside me that I'm going to let spend a little bit of my time, one from a faith perspective, and that's my pastor, Reverend Tony Lee. And I have my brother, Sherman Justice, who spoke earlier with Black Youth Vote standing in solidarity to close us out. Thank you, and I love you. Tony.
My brothers and my sisters, I come today to tell you that we have got to call this United States of America into a sense of repentance. You've got to understand it. In Micah, the word says that what does the Lord require of you but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. And we have got to call this nation not just to talk justice, but to do justice. Not just to act justice, but to do justice. Not just to fake justice, but to do justice. And if it won't do justice, we'll shut this sucker down. Is there anybody here who says this nation will do justice? So we cannot stop until justice rolls. No justice? No justice?
All right. We're rolling on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Please now welcome the head of the National Urban League, my main man, Mark Morial.
No justice? No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton and the entire team at the National Action Network, but also thank the labor organizations, civil rights organizations, young people. A big round of applause. The young people who stood up. This day has been a day where some will ask, why do we march? We march because of Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Akai Gurley, John Crawford, LeVar Jones, and Marlene Pinnock. But we also march today for the many people not named today who've been victims of police violence across the nation. We march today because it is our right as Americans to request that we have. We march today because we are united, black and white and brown and Asian. We are united, young and old. We are united to say it is time for change. We want justice, and we want it now. A generation ago, or many generations ago, the death of Emmett Till, the bombing of the 4 girls in Birmingham in the 16th Street Baptist Church, the death of Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney, young people who gave a summer to go and register people to vote down in Mississippi, awakened the conscience of a nation. That awakening spurred a people's movement of unprecedented proportions. And that people's movement knocked down the walls of segregation, passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I am outraged by the grand jury decisions in Ferguson and in Staten Island, but I'm even more outraged by the prosecutors who mismanaged those grand juries. And that is why this movement cannot be a movement without objectives. And so I want to just share with you 10 action steps for police reform and police accountability that each of you must bring back to your local community, and we will advocate for in all 50 states of the nation. Number 1, we want widespread use of body cameras and dashboard cameras in every police department in this nation. We want an end to broken windows police strategies and the implementation of 21st century community policing strategies. We want a uniform deadly force policy that's transparent and understood by all police departments across the nation. We want all police officers to be comprehensively retrained to learn how community policing should work, to develop relationships between police and the communities they serve. We want, where appropriate, special prosecutors to be appointed to investigate police misconduct, because the relationship between local police and local prosecutors is too close for them to always be fair and impartial. We want the FBI to create a clear and transparent reporting system for lethal force incidents involving all law enforcement anywhere in the nation. And we want a national database of citizen complaints against the police. We also want a national police accreditation system, which for those departments that don't meet this accreditation, they are ineligible to receive federal dollars. And we want this Congress that meets behind us, to pass a national, comprehensive anti-racial profiling law. No one based on race, color, creed, religion, national origin, or gender orientation should be profiled by the police. So we've come today to rally, come today to stand with these families. But brothers and sisters and ladies and gentlemen, we've come today because today is not an end, but a new beginning. The new beginning of a movement for justice in this nation. No justice? No justice? No peace. Hands up. No truth.
The next speaker is the new president and CEO of the NAACP. Please welcome Cornell Brooks.
No justice? No justice? No justice?
No peace.
A little while ago, we left worn stones on a plaza, marching toward polished marble of the U.S. Capitol. And along this route, a little over a mile, we marched together. Jew and Gentile, black and white, Catholic and Protestant, gay and straight, Latino and Asian, we marched together. We, the people, marched together. We marched together a little over a mile because the distance between these 2 points is a measure of our determination. It's a measure of our commitment. It's a measure of our resolve because we believe all lives matter. Every child matters. Every citizen matters. All of our children matter. We have been asked the question, why march? Why us? We march because when we see our children go out day in and day out, profiled, born suspect, we march because when you have 1 out of every 4 African-American young men being mistreated at the hands of the police in any given month, we march. We march when young African-American men are 21 times more likely to lose their lives at the hands of the police. We march. We march because we believe in our children, we care for our children, we claim our children, and yes, we will protect our children. You ask, why do we march? When we conducted a journey for justice from Michael Brown's hometown to the hometown of Governor Jay Nixon, 134 miles across the length and breadth of Missouri, we marched. We marched because all of our children matter. We marched, and we will yet march again. When you ask, why do we march? I answer in the words of a civil rights leader from the last century who said, we will march until hell freezes over. And when it does, we will march on the ice. Some pose the question, why us? Some say it's not your children being profiled, not your children born suspect. But I simply say to you that if you've ever held a child in your arms, if you've ever held a baby in your arms, you know that that child's name is not Democrat or Republican. The child is not called by the name of the Urban League or the NAACP. That child's name is known by God, and every child matters. We march together because we care about our children. When I came to the NAACP, My youngest son was the same age as Emmett Till when he was killed, 14 years of age. And my oldest son was 17 years of age, the same age as Trayvon Martin when he was killed. I march because of my children. We march because of our children. We stand together because of our children. And so I say to you this afternoon that as we march, let us be mindful of that great hymn of freedom. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Let us march on, let us march on, let us march on till victory is won. One for every child, one for every citizen, one for every person that is a member of this republic. Let us march for our children.
I am going to now bring up the legal arm of this demonstration. Three of the baddest folk that ever worked the bar. Ladies and gentlemen, first up, you know him as the judge, Judge Greg Mathis.
Brother Sharpton, the family of our fallen boys who are changing this world, and you all here today. Very quickly, I want to comment on what justice looks like or what it should look like. Justice should look like federal intervention with federal and state legislation amending the laws on secret grand juries. We want grand juries to be open and transparent. Justice should look like using the police data that we gather around the country to change police oversight and to have that oversight by those in our community. We want justice to look like the police in our community hugging us, touching us, and loving us. To love us is to be a part of us. We want justice to look like choosing employment and education for our black youth rather than mass incarceration for our black youth. We want justice to look like the stopping of guns and drugs being dumped in our communities for our young people to kill themselves with. And finally, we want justice to look like you, like me, like he, like she, like them, like they. We want justice to look like all of us so that we can get equal protection under the law. God bless, stay strong, and we love you.
Somebody on the show, Reverend Sharpton, said, you know, I wish Johnny Cochran was alive. Well, he's not. But Attorney Crump is the attorney of our generation. Darrell Parks is the attorney of our generation. Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, and their new client, Tamara Rice. Ladies and gentlemen, the attorneys of our generation. Welcome, Attorney Crump and Attorney Darrell Parks.
Brothers and sisters, when Trayvon Martin's killer profiled, pursued, and shot him in the heart, we said that was bad. But what was worse was when our criminal justice system profiled Trayvon Benjamin Martin while he was laying on the ground dead in Sanford, Florida. And now we come to Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and they profile us all. Y'all saw the horrific images in Ferguson when they had guns on 13-year-old children. They had tear gas
and rubber bullets being shot on grandmothers. And didn't they profile us all? Because the people who came out for the killer of an unarmed teenager laying dead on the ground, they called them supporters. And when all of you came out for the black teenager laying dead on the ground, they called us protesters. When the people came out for the police officer, they got police protection. When we came out for Michael Brown Jr., we got police enforcement. So brothers and sisters, as I stand for Attorney Parks and all these great lawyers at the forefront of the National Bar Association, you know, they demonize our children. They profile Trayvon and they demonize Trayvon, 17 years old. And then Michael Brown, they profile, they demonize Michael Brown, 18 years old. And now, brothers and sisters, we come to Tamir Rice, 12 years old, Cleveland, Ohio. Are they going to try to demonize and profile this baby? It don't matter what they say about our children, because we care for our children. We believe in our children. We love our children. And we're going to continue to stand up for our children. We're going to continue to speak up for our children. And if need be, we're going to be willing to die for our children, because they're our children. And if nobody stand up for our children, we're going to stand up for our children here on the nation's capital, in every courtroom in America. So, brothers and sisters, without further ado, I want to introduce y'all to a powerful sister, a great leader, also from St. Louis, Missouri, our president of our National Bar Association, the largest association of lawyers of color, who's going to make sure we get due process in Missouri, Staten Island, Cleveland, Ohio, and your neighborhood too, wherever you from. We're going to represent, because that's what our people expected us to do. That's why people got dogs turned on them, water hose turned on them. Not so, as Reverend Al say, we can be safe and go make a lot of money. No, we got those things, those sacrifices for us to go represent our people. And that's why I'm so proud of black lawyers all over America who say we're going to stand up for our community too. Pam Means is that kind of lawyer. Y'all give it up for our president.
Charles Hamilton in Houston said that an African-American lawyer is either a social engineer or a parasite. Reverend Al Sharpton, families of America, I came to let you know that the lawyers of the National Bar Association are social engineers. We are not parasites. And when we are done marching, we will change the laws of this land so that we can ensure that not another black brother or sister is laying dead in the streets. They say to us, we are not profiled. I say to them, when we have lawyers and when we have police officers that de-escalate force, and in communities like the white community, like they do it in the black communities, then we'll stop speaking out. When there's a brother in the Walmart store who takes a cash register, terrorizes the whole community, fights with the police officer, tries to take his gun 3 times, but he's white and he's lives, I say, give me that police officer in my community and we'll stop marching. When they apprehend a brother, like they did the white boy that walked into a theater and shot up 14 people, then we'll stop wanting to change the law. When they apprehend a brother similar to the man that went in and shot up the Congresswoman's rally,
shot 4 people and a federal judge. They didn't shoot him down. They calmed him down. When they start doing that in the black community, then we'll think about telling them their system is not broken. But the members of the National Bar Association, we're going to tell you as legal scholars, the system is broken. Some of y'all say, take it back to the grand jury. But as a great scholar, I'm going to tell you, I don't take something back to something that's broken. I fix that which is broken. So I say reform the jury system, implement state laws that says there must be stricter mental health testing. Because when an officer sees a demon and a fictitious character in somebody, there's something wrong with that brother. There must be diversity training, not at the start, but in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, and at the end. Amen. Most of y'all were surprised that there was a no true bill. Black lawyers in the National Bar Association, we were not. Because we understood that in 1982, the Supreme Court said that if an officer felt that his life was in jeopardy, he could elevate force to that level that he believed was reasonable in order to decrease the force. We call that in law a capricious standard. It's subjective. So we're saying to the Hill, put some definition to excessive force. Put some definition to what it means to elevate force, and then train your lawyers how to de-escalate force instead of escalate force in black communities. I challenge every commentator that says it's okay to kill in black communities because it's a high crime rate. You get a little sensitive when we paint you with a brush that says all cops are bad. I challenge you to stop painting us with a brush that says all black people are bad. We want you to make it a felony for another officer to watch an officer commit police brutality. You make it a crime if I go in the store with a brother, he robs and I know nothing about it, you call that felony murder. I say you should go to jail with him. Don't just stand there and do nothing. Like you have, I got a 13-year-old baby, and he won't be dead in the street because we are social engineers.
Before she spoke up, warmed this crowd up. Hey, Johnny Cochran, you can rest in peace. We got this. Where is the X Factor finalist, Stacey Francis? We were supposed to have a performance, and it's a time factor because C-SPAN and other networks are going to close out, and we just want to just say thank you. Just come out and get a round of applause. She came, she didn't have to come. Stacey Francis, the X Factor, thank you so much for being here. Give her a round of applause. She's here, folks. That's the most important thing. All right, can't. Hold on a second. All right. Let me bring, if I can now, the president of Voto Latino, Maria Teresa Kumar.
Andy Lopez, 13 years old, shot because he was holding a toy gun on his front yard. No questions asked. His community organized. they marched to City Hall asking for justice. He was received with police snipers on their rooftop. This is my hometown of Santa Rosa, California. This is a Latino life cut too short. This is an epidemic in our country that knows no color, Latino or brown or Asian. And unfortunately, it's an epidemic that they're too afraid to address. But what gives me pleasure and what gives me excitement to know that when you look around the room right now in the halls of Washington, they don't want us in there, but we're out here, all colors and creed, saying not one more of our sons, our brothers, or our sisters are going to be shot dead without our being testament of what is happening. I ask today for our Latinos brothers and sisters who are afraid to come out and voice their pain. 2 out of 3 Latinos are afraid of police harassment. 2 out of 3. But they're embarrassed to come out. And I ask them today to take the strength of the mothers of Trayvon Martin, the strength of Tamir's mother, the strength of Eric Gardner's mother, the strength of Michael Brown's mother to come forth and unify with the African American community so that we can be strong together, so that there's no more injustice in our communities where it does not know color. Yeah, basta! Not one more! Come together! We are bigger together! We are unified together! No justice, no peace! No peace! No peace!
New York 12, the Congressional Representative Congresswoman Carolyn Melanie, United States Congress of New York.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out. Activists, unions, leaders, civil rights. Not far from where we stand is the Supreme Court building. And engraved in stone above the entrance is one of the greatest promises ever made: equal justice under the law. We make that promise of equal justice to everyone, not some, not most, but all. So let's be clear. This march today is not against the police, it's against unfair police brutality. It's not against enforcing the law, it's for observing that great promise: equal justice, impartial justice for all. We are here today because we have ample and heartbreaking reason to believe that some do not have equal justice. Eric Garner died because he was suspected of selling cigarettes on the street. And even if he was found guilty of this offense, there is no jail time, it's just a fine. And yet Eric Gardner was arrested. Eric Gardner was restrained. Eric Gardner was wrestled to the ground, and Eric Gardner is dead. He is dead, and he was not even charged with a crime. There is something so wrong with that. It cries out to red and blue, Democrat and Republican, libertarian and liberal alike. It tells us all that there has come to be a terrible disconnect between what is just and what has become just business as usual. The corrosive effects of stereotypes applied and justice denied is a problem that is too big, too widespread, and too dangerous to ignore. It has shaken many citizens' belief in our judicial system. A record report, a recent one by the New York Attorney General, looked at the results of the 2.4 million stops that were made during these stop and frisk years. Just 6% of those stops resulted in arrests, and about half of those arrests did not result in convictions. That means that over 2,003,300,000 people, mostly black young men, were stopped for nothing. The promise of equal justice engraved above the Supreme Court is not fulfilled as long as men like Eric Garner can die for selling cigarettes, as long as children like Tamir Rice can die in a playground, as long as innocents like Akai Gurley can die on a stairway, and as long as men like Michael Brown can die on the streets. And no one is held accountable. This has got to change.
If we could now come together to close out, to give benediction. But I learned in Sunday school that a benediction is not the end. It's when you stand up and turn around and go out to do, oh, hold on a second, one change. Jamani from New York City. One more, you got it? Thank you, man. One more and then we'll get to the benediction, close out.
What's up, America? How you doing? I only got 60 seconds, so I'm gonna be quick. Everybody keeps asking me what kind of protest it's gonna be. It's the wrong question. It should be, why are they protesting? Because if you ask that question first and you fix that question, you won't have to ask why are they protesting. There won't be anybody protesting. And the last thing I want to say is we're spending a lot of time on police reform, which we absolutely should. But I don't want to get lost in the message of what's going on, because they say the police are there because the communities ask for them. That's true. But those very same communities ask for better housing. Those very same communities ask for better jobs. Those very same communities ask for a better school system, just for the building not to be crumbling. Those very same communities ask for clean streets. Those very same communities ask for economic enliftment. Why can we only hear one cry, but we can't hear the cry of all of it? So don't let them fool you. This is about generational and institutional oppression on communities in this country. We're not going to talk about one institution. We're going to talk about all institutions. I'm happy to see everybody out there, black, white, brown, Jewish, Muslim, everyone. Keep marching for justice. Keep marching for equality. They marched before us, and we have it now. We are those that have always tried to keep America honest. Keep on. Keep strong. Peace. From L.A. to Ohio, from Ferguson to Staten Island, they gonna hear us, they gonna feel us, because we marching on righteousness and correctness.
Power to the people. Excuse me 1 second. We are missing young man Linwood Jones. Linwood Jones, if you are missing, we're looking for you. Please meet us right here at the corner to the left of the stage. My left, your right. Linwood Jones. Meet us right here at the corner to the right of the stage. Wes Bellamy is looking for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We do not bring any ministers. We're going to close out with Stacy. Do you mind we close out and then benediction? Everybody happy? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the X Factor finalist, Stacy Francis.
I just want to come over here and say we have to all go back to who we know, and that's Christ. And anytime we have a problem, we always go back to God. We have Pastor Brian here. I hope he's going to pray us out of here today. But I just want to sing a little something for you to be reminded of who lifts us up, who keeps us strong, and who can keep us going no matter what. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. You're the source of my strength. And you are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise. Come on, lift your hands out here, y'all. We got to lift our hands for the right reasons, right? In total praise to you. Amen. 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 Thank you. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can all now, with our benediction, it is not the end. You turn and go out to do the work that has to be done. To now turn us around and head us out in the right direction, the outstanding Reverend Jamal Bryant.
Nobody said the road was going to be easy. I don't believe he's brought us this far to leave us now. Would you take your neighbor by the hand? We're getting ready to go. Everybody, make sure somebody's hand is in your hand. We've come as a family. We're leaving as a family. How in the world are we going to get victory? We don't have the money of the Koch brothers. We don't have the backing of the Republican Party. How in the world are we going to find triumphant victory while it is that we're working but Congress is on vacation? How in the world are we going to get justice when families are crying, but it looks like the Senate is just laughing? But we believe the only way that we're going to prevail is our secret weapon. God has never failed us, and he's never forsaken us. You want to know whether God still works? God worked on Black Friday when we boycotted and they saw a hit by 11% because we kept our black dollars in our black pockets. They want to know whether God still works. We're not just in Washington, we're in Ferguson, we're in Oakland, and we're giving a major shout out for those who are in New York right now. Would you shout for them? This is not the end, it is the beginning. And so tomorrow is Black Solidarity Sunday. Every black denomination is lined up with us: AME, CME, AME Zion, Church of God in Christ, the Progressive Baptist, Full Gospel, Global United Fellowship, Sons and Daughters of FIPA, all of them, black Episcopalians, black Lutherans, black Catholics. Tomorrow, go to church wearing black. But I don't want you to just go to church wearing black. When you leave church, still be black. And because Hollywood didn't get the memo, Jesus is black. So I need you to please make sure that tomorrow we stand shoulder to shoulder and arm to arm. Would you bow your head? God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, the one who has brought us thus far along the way, God, we thank you because you know what it's like. You remember when Jesus was born, they tried to kill black boys, but you hid one so that there would be a leader. You remember in Exodus, they tried to kill black boys, but you hid one so a leader could come forth. We thank you because sons are being birthed right now who are going to lead our generation to the next place and to a higher level. Dispatch angels right now around our sons from psychopathic, sociopathic police officers. I pray right now that you will convict prosecutors who have in fact given up the law for popularity. We pray that you will disrobe judges who are elected but have not been appointed by your glory. We thank you right now for new registered voters who are going to march in 2016 until we have righteous congresspeople, righteous senators, and a righteous president. God, we don't want just black elected officials. We want a black agenda. We want to make sure that our lives matter is not a slogan, but it is a lifestyle. Let us march on. And God, for every person who opposes justice, every person who opposes righteousness, we came to remind them, we know when they are sleeping. We know when they are awake. We know when they've been good or bad. And because they've been bad, please send black Jesus for goodness sake. Amen. And God bless you.
So the Justice for All March and Rally wrapping up now here in Washington, D.C. It began at Freedom Plaza, made its way down Pennsylvania Avenue to the National Mall near the U.S. Capitol. We'll bring you portions of this event tonight